I am lost.
And Maria, we had the fires. There is a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done. What are your thoughts on that? What's happening?
With the fires, certainly that was a very devastating period of time, both in the Altadena community, Pacific Palisades. With regard to those fires, I mean, I feel very close to that. I live in the Pasadena area, and during that period of time, I felt like I had one foot in with my community because I saw parks and buildings and churches and golf courses that I had visited just burned to the ground. So it was very personal. I had friends, so many friends that lost their homes, and so many small businesses in those neighborhoods that were gone. So it felt very personal to me. And then on the other hand, with my chamber hat, it was how do we mobilize? How can we help support these communities? How can we bring resources into these communities? How can we share out information of support? So we've been doing that it's coming up on a year. In January, we will do another retrospective on the fires in terms of where are we at and where do we need to go. So we don't want to just say we were here during the fires and now it's over. It is not. This is a long journey, not only for the residents. We leaned into helping support small businesses. We created a relief fund and provided grants to about 230 businesses. We want to continue that because we know that those businesses, those were very small businesses that make up the neighborhoods and the communities. And many of those small business owners also lived within those communities. And I can't tell you how many I spoke to that lost their business and lost their home. So that is just the most devastating thing that you can imagine. But yet everyone that I spoke to that was in a situation like that, that was a victim of these fires, what fuels me is hearing the resiliency in their voice, right? They were harmed, they were hurt, but how can they get back on their feet? Some will rebuild. I have heard from others that will be looking to move to somewhere else. There is a lot there, very complex situation. We're a year out. We know how the insurance is still a challenge for many. We know that permitting is also something that needs to be addressed. We know that we still need a lot more for this to truly be something where we can rebuild. The governor has an ask out to the federal government, and we're hoping to continue to advocate for additional funds for recovery.
Is there enough construction resources to rebuild? And how long do you think it would take?
Well, I think that's another conversation that I'm definitely hearing about is what about the construction resources that are
like
available?
The contractors.
The contractors. I mean, this is a big effort. I do know that shortly after the fires, there was a group that came together to really do a full analysis. What does it take? These were real estate professionals, architects, people in the infrastructure area. So we continue to work with groups like that to understand how can the chamber, as an advocacy organization, help support some of the initiatives that were identified and help advocate for them, whether it's in local government or state or even at the federal level. There is still a lot of gaps that need to be filled. One is labor, for sure. That's something that we'll continue to be looking at.
Some people have been concerned about the bureaucracy, and you mentioned permitting. Mm-hmm. How's that going? Because there were plans to expedite everything. Mm-hmm. Is that moving as planned, or is it?
The mayor in particular had certain executive directives that she initiated to streamline the permitting process, and I think it's a good example of something that we should keep, maybe permanently. You know, when this is something that you can help sort of shorten that cycle of how things get permitted or get through a process like that, and there are good results that you see from things like that, we would encourage her to keep looking at that as a model. So we think there's opportunity there. We think there's some really great ideas that have come up. We think that some of those ideas can yield to more building expedited, permitting, or things moving through quickly. We're going to be talking about that to our elected officials about things like that.
One of the things that's happening in a city like LA